And we are back for round 2. The only downside about these phantom queues is sometimes what's happened there happens, and that's that people drop. I still think I want to draw with this deck. Yeah, this looks like this looks like a hand that would have been fine on the play too, but I think generally speaking, unless I know that my opponent's very aggressive, I would rather be on the draw with this particular one. We're kind of like trading 6 points of life, I think, to be a little bit ahead. We'll see how it turns out. We will see. The alchemist has a special greeting for you. It is damage in your face. Things like Incendiary Flow make me pretty happy to be on the draw too. Like if they play something that I care about here, we can just burn it. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. Or they could just not play anything ever. That works too. So it was a question of whether or not I wanted to play the Cryptolith Fragment. Like, I get that the Fragment is less likely to be interacted with, but we just don't need it yet. Like, if I can get a hit in with this and then play it, that would be a sweet turn. And I clearly want to hit the Innkeeper next turn, especially if they can't, like, resolve anything from here. That would just be fantastic. I do dig their avatar here. That was one of the first avatars that I used, the Phyrexian Metamorph. I think you got that for like new Phyrexia drafts, and that was right when I was getting back into Magic. For those of you who don't know, I played in from like Revised through Prophecy, and then took a very long break and came back when Scars of Mirrodin was just released. And I sort of knew what I was doing by the time New Phyrexia came out. Not quite, but sort of. I had some idea of how to play the game thanks to watching draft videos like this one. That eventually led me to make my own draft videos, and well, here we are. So it's a question of whether or not we want to just go with the flow. I think I'm okay letting them trade this and then mana screwing them for next turn. And there's a chance they take it, which would be fantastic, because then we can just Innkeeper, next turn Fragment, flow this, and they're stuck with a 2/2. Yeah, if there's any chance that they take this, then I need to do that. And if they just want to trade card for card, that's okay. If that was their best play last turn, they probably don't have a particularly good play next turn. And like I said, taking it, I think, is the dream. The scary part about them taking it is that they may emerge something off of that Corpse Trawler. But we're going to make that a little bit more difficult for them to do by shutting them off of mana here. We're going to take them off of black because that makes Murder not castable. Not that we need to super worry about that, but it does mean if they play a black card, they can't do anything with this. But I think our next turn is going to look like Cryptolith Fragment and Incendiary Flow. We'll see how that works out, though. Right, the downside of using the Incendiary Flow to get rid of this dude is if they have any brain at all, they're going to give that Death Touch, which means I don't get any damage in this turn. I always forget about that when I'm playing against the Drowning Corpse Trawler. So we could just kind of send this in, let them make that trade, burn this, and then be left with a 4/3, untap with 6 mana and a Cryptolith Fragment in play. I kind of don't hate that. The other way ensures that I do get through damage this turn, though. Like, does it really matter if it's is a 4/3 better than 3 now and 3 next turn? I'm not entirely convinced that it is. Not since we're going to be turning the Cryptolith Fragment on here in a minute, and they may still be too scared to block. We'll see. This is just straight up letting them 2-for-1 me when they shouldn't be able to. I think maybe I'm playing too aggressive. Yeah, I drew with this deck because it's a more controlling deck. I don't want to do that. That sucks, but we are solving the problem of they might emerge onto something. And I think putting them under a great deal of pressure here. If I was going to go for this line, it was probably way better to do it pre-combat. Because there's a slim chance they counter this, and then I'm stupid. I'm just dumb if they counter this. If they don't, then it's fine. Unless our opponent, like the other option is, okay, they didn't cast anything. Well, then that worked out just fine. Their thing's dead, they play another big thing, we can kill it, and they eventually have to start chumping. But I was about to take a very aggressive line because I'm used to playing aggressive decks, and this is just not one. It's got a ton of cards in hand, but presumably they're going to play something good. We kill it, get in for 7. They play something else good. We kill it, get in for 7, 8, 9, and they're dead. Yeah, like that, for example, is going to die. It's just going to die. We're not interested in trading our dudes for it. We just want it dead. And this is where having the wolf still around is better. Because, like, what are they going to do? Take 7? Chomp? So they don't know it, but we've got lethal with the 2 damage from this. And the 1 damage. I mean, we've already, I guess they do know it. We've already got lethal with the damage from this dude. So we can eat this zombie for free next turn. If we're willing to just kill whatever they play next. Which we certainly are. Now, if they're very bold, they'll attack with that zombie and just die. Which is fantastic. So that lets us kill them when we still have these cards in our hand. So we've got no cards in hand. They do. And that all came back to not attacking into that Drowning Corpse Trawler that turn. So that worked out great because we were completely out of gas. If they... Basically, if they'd held back that zombie, they buy 1 more turn. It ain't looking good. But we'll take it. We'll take it. So all we really know is that they've got Voldaren Pariah with some token producers, which is scary. Generally speaking, I think we can handle that. I again think I'm a little interested in the Make Mischief. It only does kill 1 of those, so maybe I don't need to go nuts over it. We're going on the draw again, which is fine. This deck's fine being on the draw. Devil's Playground handles X1s really well too, but like that Drowning Corpse Trawler could be a problem, but I mean it's 1 card in their deck. We don't need to completely retool our sideboard to beat that. Because like when you're playing a deck that's mostly removal and trying to get yourself to the late game, you have to make sure that your late game is actually good enough to win, right? Because ours kind of isn't. It's remove the bombs, play the big stuff, cross your fingers. But we've got so many ways to interact with that. One of which is at instant speed. Like, my God, imagine they go to flip it and we kill it. It's not work if you enjoy it. Yeah, I think we can win with this again. I think this does what we want to do. It's funny how much more I like the Markov Crusader over the Faith Bearer Paladin. They're kind of mirror images of each other, but like when this can get through, it's a bigger deal, and it can trade with more, and sometimes it has haste. Whereas this says human on it, which can occasionally be relevant. But yeah, I'm gonna run this bad boy back. I could see maybe playing the Vessel of Malignity. And that does get better when you're on the draw. I wonder if our opponent will put us on the play. It's kind of a little mind game in sealed. Like if you want to be on the draw, sometimes your opponent will put you on the play. No, they chose to play, and we've actually got a hand that can keep up. So this is great. We're not playing too many 2-drops, but the fact that we have one here is just good news, yeah? Swamp. Swiggity swamp. So like a busted carriage, I guess. Didn't work out too good. Okay, now there's another X1. So it's starting to look like we might actually want a little bit of X1 hate. So what all does this do? 4 damage to a creature, 3 damage to your opponent, and somebody gets a Wheel of Fortune. We might want that. We might not. It is another way to get Delirium going, eh? Should we decide to release the hounds? I don't think we need to worry about that just yet, though. Aw, help. I think I'd rather use my mana. Although this is more likely to be able to get in for damage, which is interesting. I don't particularly want to trade with the rats, but I may need to. But I think I'm going to default to just using all of my mana. And then the plan next turn would be to get a zombie token to trade for that. Like, I certainly don't want to use Alchemist Greeting or Collective Defiance on anything until that, like, they're getting really low on cards. Because, like, Pariah can win a game out of nowhere. And these 2 cards just stop all of those problems. And while I don't love a 4-mana 2/2, I do love trading it for their 2/1. If that's what we gotta do, yo. Okay. I think this actually leaves me in an entirely different scenario, because now I'm kind of thinking maybe they do have that Pariah. Like, I think I may actually want to trade this and then make the other zombie. Like, we're the ones under the gun here. I don't like this. This is my 3-drop, and I wanted to do something else with it, but they're being aggressive, and I don't like it. I got zombies too. So at the end of the day, we traded 2 cards for 2 cards, and each of us have a token on the board. That's fine. If they slam a Pariah here, we can handle it. If they slam a Tooth Collector, it's not even the end of the world. It's not great. But they're forcing through 2 damage with it. That's okay. Alright, alright. Things that could be good or not. Are pretty far away from Delirium, and it makes me happy I didn't play the Whelp. So we could Wheel of Fortune to try to hit stuff, but I kind of like most of what's in my hand. And again, we've got an answer for their big thing. So I think we just sit here. Now note, once they flip the Pariah, this doesn't handle it. But if I hit another mana, I guess we could Wheel of Fortune ourselves and discard it. Good God, an Abbey too? Okay, we're going to need to do something here shortly. I think a good start is attacking here. And I'm tempted to run the Prophet. Yeah, I think that's where I go, because next turn I can potentially loop the greeting to kill something. They can't make another token and activate this. So like nightmare scenario here is Pariah. Provided it's not that, we're still playing Magic. Probably going to discard the Spreading Flames here, as it looks like we're a long way away from that doing anything, and I do need the land drops. Okay, Wretched Griff is fine. Alright, let's see if we can hit some lands. Alright, not the land we need, but it's a start. And that is the land we need. So I think we're pretty happy again to send in the Whelp, as even trading it for a token is okay. Is that okay? That might not be okay. I think they probably take it though, because they're expecting to flip their Ormondal next turn. So I think I can get in a free 2 points of damage here. Alright, and if we're going to draw a card, we may as well draw a card first. Alright, and here's where we start hitting the lands. So I can Collective Defiance something and leave myself a bit cold to the Pariah. But gunning down that Tooth Collector is starting to get attractive. Because like if they play the Pariah without instant speed removal, I can't really do anything about it. And I'm playing the Arsonist next turn almost assuredly, so I think I actually have to kill this. It sucks. It's not what I want to do, but... Because if they're able to play and flip the Pariah, I don't have a way of handling it currently. So I may as well at least cut down their creature count. Okay, they have finally recognized that you don't want to mess around with the Prophet. I'm super happy to trade this guy off. Don't want to trade that for a zombie token? Probably. That should leave me with a big thing. Playing this guy just because it's big enough to wreck them. We're again very soft to a Pariah. But I mean, that's been the case the entire game. And if they don't slam it and jam it, we could end up getting them with a murder off the top or something. I really think they have it, and they're trying to decide if I block a zombie. Which I think means if they send a zombie, I block it. Which is just the most bizarre play I've ever seen. But I think that's what's up. Like it's almost impossible for them not to have the Pariah here. Right? No. Thermos Alchemist. Okay. They have finally engineered a turn where they can leave up mana for the death touching. But we're flooding pretty hard. That may mean I send Homeboy and pass, letting this flip so that we can get a little more menacing next turn. Actually, I probably have to suck it up and trade, because that's 4 or 5. That's 5. So I do have one more turn if I don't want to just derp off trade dudes. But Ormondal will eventually be a problem, and I legitimately don't have an answer to that. Yeah, I guess if I don't trade this for a zombie now, they really don't have any incentive to do anything but sit there, so... I can do it next turn. Do it next turn. I think they've probably out-controlled me here. So what happens if I attack and I trade this for a zombie? That's obviously a bad trade for me, but it takes them a turn off from being able to do anything with this. If they have land and 2-drop in hand, they just flip it and I'm dead. Like, we ain't racing that. Because I like, flipping this is committing me to not playing anything this turn as well. I can send the zombie, but that just doesn't matter. So it just blocks here. But I guess that means this guy isn't blocking that in conjunction with something. So if we're going to send, we send the team. I feel like Ormondal kind of puts you in a situation where you have to race. One of the other interesting things that happens here is we're potentially putting us where Cryptolith Fragment can be live, which doesn't really stop Ormondal, but that's a hard card to play around. Like, I think if they didn't have that, I saved the Collective Defiance much longer and could wheel away these lands. Just as long as you keep tapping, I'm happy. Alright. That seems kind of good for me. Like, I was already happy, and that means I got a good draw for next turn. Like, I don't get to attack with it, but sure. That's a bold move. Just 0 care. Happy to take 2. Alright. I approve. I don't think I have any reason to hold lands. Like, trading a little bit does turn on the Cryptolith Fragment potentially, and that could be something that can deal enough damage to my opponent. Just no blocks. Oh, you've got Borrowed Malevolence? No. Just want to be at 5. Okay. I like it. I think you should want to be at 5 too. That seems like a good number for you to be at. The lower their life total gets, the less human cleric tokens they can poop out. And we've got a little bit of burn left in the deck. It does feel awful to discard Spreading Flames, looking for lands, and then just derp into more. Derp. Brains. Dog food. I have no idea why they took all that damage. Perhaps for a boot to find Doot. Something's happening. Are they splashing for Spreading Flames? Like, if we can get them low enough, we've still got the Maw in the deck. I've been scared of the Pariah the entire game, but Maw off the top would kind of solve a lot of those problems. Come on. You can do it. Tap the lands. No? Okay. Not sure which of my amazing cards I want to play. There you go. That's a good one. You're going to play that into Pariah and then sack everything but the Sin Prodder to the Pariah and just have me be Terrasad? If they do that and we draw Incendiary Flow, we have to point it at their face and then cross our fingers that, and give them whatever they draw and cross our fingers that the Drainy dude is on top. That would put us to 1 if they draw nothing. Or they could just not have any of the cards that I'm afraid of. That would be good. And we could draw lands. Cool. Cool. I like lands. So Sin Prodder's not going to be good for us. Let's not hide the truth from that. I don't have good attacks with anything but the Crusader. Which means we attack with the Crusader. If I attack here, it does mean that they block this, and therefore could not block the zombie. And I do have some interest in getting them to 3. There's strong potential for them to Ormondal at some point in the near future, but I have exactly 1 turn to draw something that can interact with this. You know what? Okay, so how much comes back? I'm going to be at 14. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think my tactic here is to actually swing. Because if they double block this guy, chump and chump, we've erased the Ormondal problem. And if they take any damage from any of this, like even just 2, then I've got 2 draws off the top that kill them. Now, I imagine they're going to trade some creatures here, and I'm kind of okay with that. Because it, again, solves the Ormondal problem. Like, that's great. That's great. We are really good with all of these things that are happening. And I think I had to chump attack with the zombie to make sure I traded here, or to encourage them to trade, but getting them at that low a life total, even though it's cost my board, means we've got a little bit of time. We don't have a lot of time, but we've got a little bit of time to draw Maw into Incendiary Flow or something like that. Dark Salvation would also be a thing we could do here. It gives us significantly less time. Like, they're almost dead to Devil's Playground. There you go. Leave up your blue. Okay, so they're going to do loss 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we go to 2. I don't think that leaves me any live draws, but we'll see. It's got to be pretty good. They gave me another one, and we continue to just hit lands. That's unfortunate, but part of the game. We took a little bit of risk discarding the Spreading Flames. So let's get a real good look at their deck. They've got a lot of must-answer creatures, and I don't think I can afford to try to be the control deck against them because their late game is just better, way better than mine. The advantage I have is their mana looks disgusting. Again, we haven't seen their entire deck, but we've seen half of it. And they're playing a bunch of basics in a Westvale Abbey. So that what that makes me want to do is look at perhaps a little bit more aggressive version of this, where we're not running them all, and we're instead trying to use like crappy creatures to force through a little bit of damage and wanting to go on the play. Things that I'm interested in there are things like Make Mischief, the Duelist, perhaps a Vessel to force through some damage, or make them discard some cards, because again, we're going to hit lands, which is good. This is pretty bad when we're on the play, though, and I think we're going on the play. I do want to make room for the Duelist. I'm not entirely sure over what. And I need something that can handle X1s. I guess his bidding is okay, but the Duelist may be better. I just don't have an answer to Ormondal. Does blue have an answer to Ormondal? Blue has sleep paralysis. White has several strong answers. So is this where I want to be red-white instead of red-black? I don't think I can pull off red-white. Because I'd have to run this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, if I end up just resubmitting the same deck, that's fine. I want to see what this actually looks like. And we've got a few seconds to do it. This looks like not quite enough creatures, but sort of. I actually think this might be the way to go. It's not great, but it has answers to their stuff and can be a little more aggressive. Am I crazy for thinking this is a good idea? I think I am. I'm going to let the black deck resubmit. It's close. Like, this deck is trying to answer what they're doing, and I'm not sure that's exactly where I want to be. I think I'm just going to run back the black one. And I am going to go on the play this time. And this is a decent hand on the play. Like, this hand even has a little bit of flood insurance with the Collective Defiance. And the Deranged Whelp on the play can probably get in somewhere between 4 and 6 damage unless they have a removal spell for it. Which is reasonable. Reasonable. Maybe the risk of aggro decks is too much to try to go on the draw. It's worked out for us though, but after that last one, I'm kind of scared of their deck. I think their top end's better, so I need to try to be the aggressor in this matchup. Like, just derp out kind of mediocre creatures and see if we can kill them with it, and then remove the key cards that they have. Those are really good at clogging up the ground. Like, blue was an argument here. If I had 10 minutes to decide what we were going to do, I might have given some good consideration to blue. Abundant Maw is not as bad of a draw as it looks like, because it looks like it's pretty terrible. But we can always just toss our hand at some point if we don't need it. This guy ain't blocking our dude. I don't think that's what I want to use Collective Defiance on. I mean, it's certainly not what I want to use Collective Defiance on. But you have to recognize that they're going to play one creature next turn. That can't block this guy. And then I'm going to play the Innkeeper. I think I actually have to do this and be aggressive. It's, again, kind of the opposite of where I want to be, but I think this hand wants to do that. It's like, clearly that's a better creature to answer with it. And we could be all wrong here, but I think getting damage in is the way we're doing things here. Like, the fact that they're actually considering blocking this, I mean, they can't, but I think is relevant. That Corpse Trawler is something I don't want to see, so we're going to cut them off of blue here. And I guess cross our fingers that they reveal lands? Yeah, burn it. All right. Are we racing, buddy? We are? Okay. Let's do it. I want to race. So the Stallion uses the most mana, the Wolves attack for the most damage. So I've got to get them down to 3. They don't know it yet, but they're actually at 8 life. I think that means I value the extra power on the Wolves more. The downside is if I draw something like... if I draw something like the Incendiary Flow, I won't be able to cast that and the Wolves in the same turn, and I'd like to. I would definitely like to. So with these, if they want to continue racing, they're taking 6, 7, 8 next turn, and they're just dead. I think that means I should go ahead and cast this. If the game does go on for another turn, that means they basically have to block or I win. I like winning. So if the game goes on for one more turn, this is a better play for us. No, burn that. No island for you. Still want to race? Okay, you do want to race. Well, again, the good part about this is that deals us 9. So they're going to chump, I guess? If they don't, they're dead. Oh, they're going to surprise me with a Galvanic Blast on this and eating one of these dudes. So what does that mean? I think that means we post-combat, because I can cast this for 3, post-combat this dude. I'm still going to go for it. They have to have exactly that, which they've shown that they have in the deck. They have to have exactly that for this to go terribly wrong. Okay. Lightning Axe. Okay, that is the worst case scenario. That is the actual worst. Okay. So here we are. Whew, that was bad. Galvanic Blast would have been bad as well, but that was really bad. So I think that means we need to maul. I can't block this, so we're taking 9. I would have to block this or it'll just kill me, right? We're taking 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So the only choice I have is to cast the maul and then try to resolve Devil's Playground. This puts him to 6, and that's almost dead to that. It also gains us 3 life, which is relevant. Contingency plan? Sure. That's all you, buddy. You are welcome to it. I think we're pretty far ahead if we can hit a land and resolve this Devil's Playground. Like, I don't think waiting on any of these spells would have necessarily helped us. Because, again, their late game is just way better than ours. Kind of like land would be good, burn spell would be good. This does mean they're going to have something great on top of their library, but it means they're basically not doing anything this turn. Like, it's neat that they can make sure to deal us some damage with that Sin Prodder, but again, my plan is to block all their stuff next turn. And they can't attack with both unless they've got something amazing in their hand. So they're planning to chump with that guy? Do we die to Uncaged Fury here? We do, but I'm not winning a game where they have Uncaged Fury. I might win a game where they chump with their Sin Prodder. Alright, so land, I think we're in business. Alright, that is what we wanted. If they take any of this damage, we got them. Okay, they didn't. That's okay. We would like to play. And they drew the best card out of their deck. Like, they've got action here. The Sin Prodder would have been awkward to keep alive for us. Because we'd almost have to give them whatever their top card was, and then they get their top 2. What would be terrible for me here? Markov Crusader? I guess would be the literal worst. Okay, Gone Missing's not really a problem. Because I've still got 3 damage on board. It's a slow 3 damage, but it's 3 damage. That's an interesting line. Because I have to block the Tooth Collector. I can trade all 3 to kill it, but I kind of don't want to do that. Like, this is 3 turns of not having to deal with their crap. Also, if we draw an Incendiary Flow, these guys are just lethal. Well, I guess there's that, but still, Incendiary Flow does a thing. Hey look, an Incendiary Flow. I am confirmed a luck sack. Bloop. See you in the finals.